Okay, so it is block 1, week 4. This was my peak week, so I did 85% for both power days for the deadlift, bench press, and I guess Pendlay Rows. Overall, it was not a great training week. I felt like I had a lot of sleep issues the whole time. I wasn't really recovering. Um, for a while, I felt like I had most of my sleep issues under control, but for the past week or so, I've been kind of having issues waking up too early, waking up in the middle of the night, and like once I wake up in the morning, I'm not able to go back to sleep. So that kind of fucked with my energy in the morning workouts. Didn't really affect it that much for the weekend workouts since I have like a nap or like some more coffee before I go, so I have a bit more energy. But just a difficult week overall. So I did 285 for 5 on deadlifts. Um, I did 260 for 5 on bench press, and I did 190 for 5 on rows. I felt like my form for deadlifts are still kind of a little bit iffy. Um, and for rows, I'm kind of like trying to nail down like the right kind of stimulus and setting for the lift so that I can stabilize myself before I go for the pull, because I feel like I'm definitely lifting a lot more with momentum than just with my back like I'm supposed to. Um, so I'm just going to go through and kind of review the lifts that I had this week and see like what I could improve on. For bench press, it was relatively straightforward. That's right now, that's the lift that I feel most comfortable with. 260 for 5. I did 285 for 5 before with a spotter, so this isn't like too difficult. Um, just setting myself. I don't know if I need a higher arc. I have a relatively low arc, um, but the higher you are, I feel like it's taking more out of the chest and going more for like just easier reps, which I don't really care about since I'm not doing it for powerlifting. But either way, I'm trying to do like 45-degree angle for my elbows to protect my shoulders. I think like when I'm on the eccentric and I'm pushing back up, I might be shifting my elbows a little bit higher and recruiting more of like my triceps and kind of like trying to cheat the weight up rather than focusing on being on my chest. So I think I can adjust that a little bit more. On my deload week, which is next week, I'll practice that technique a bit more. Just like pushing more with the chest and less with the triceps. But overall, this was a pretty straightforward lift. Um, I also did some shoulder presses with I think 80-pound dumbbells this time, which was it was pretty difficult. It's getting to the point where um, just getting these weights up is difficult in itself because it's 80 pounds above your head. Uh, Sometimes when I'm pulling up dumbbells that are this heavy, that in itself could like tweak me a little bit, like in some joints or like in my elbows or my shoulders. So gotta be kind of careful to utilize momentum properly to pull these up. Um, these I did 80 for 8. 75 for 10 was pretty easy, but 80 for 8 was a little bit more difficult. I don't know if that's because at this point, even a slight jump in weight is that much more difficult, or I was just exhausted by this point in the workout. My weekend sessions are about 2 hours long. Sometimes it can be even longer now that I'm taking like solid rest periods for my heavy lifts. So um, I definitely need to start bringing intra workout nutrition, either Gatorade or granola bar or something, because I definitely feel like after the first hour and a half, I'm not at my peak ability. I'm definitely like suffering a little bit. Um, Besides that, I also did some Pendlay Rows. I recorded my sets. I'm gonna look at the heavier set that I did, and then the one where I went a little bit lighter. For the heaviest one, I did 190 for 5. I really don't like doing these with hex plates. I don't like doing deadlifts with hex plates or these rows with hex plates because when I place them down on the floor, they bounce around, they move, and they're not in the right position for me to pull from, so it becomes kind of awkward. But either way, I feel like the first rep's okay. Uh, Second rep is still a little bit okay. I should be staying more parallel to the ground, but like by the third rep, I can definitely tell that I'm pulling, you know, not just with my back, but I'm using a little bit of the momentum of swinging the weight up with my back, and with by going down to 185, I feel like I kind of completely eliminated that out of the lift. So if I look here, I'll be setting up and bracing, and this time the swing is like almost non-existent for this one. I think towards the later reps when I'm going towards failure, I'm definitely using a bit more momentum in my, swinging my upper back up, like fifth, sixth rep and onwards. Um, but the early reps, like I really need to try and tighten my whole torso and lock in so that I'm not swaying so much and using momentum because that's obviously not helping. Although some people do say like a little bit of cheating in rowing movements kind of helps. Like I know people do that with T-bar rows, like they'll swing it a little bit, like back and forth. But for pendlays, I think I'm going to try to refine my technique a bit more and not swing upward so much. Um, but even then, I think that was relatively good compared to what my deadlifts looked like this week, which I was doing 285 for 5. Um, Again, hex plates really kind of fuck with me. Uh, the way that they shift the position of the weight every single time. And in order to deal with that, I'm also kind of changing the way that I stand and how I brace, and my leverages are all wrong. But for these, I feel like they were relatively okay. I didn't feel any like pain anywhere. I didn't feel like any tweaks. Maybe my back could be a little bit straighter, but my lower back is definitely braced hard. It's not, overly flexing forward. Um, the bar path seems like a little bit back and forthy instead of up and down. It's like I'm pulling the weight back towards my body instead of straight up and down. Um, that might mean like I'm setting my feet too far back, or I'm leaning too far forwards. Um, it seems like I might be like setting my feet too far back, but hex plates definitely make it difficult to position the weight in the right place before I lift up. Um, but yeah, relatively uneventful week. I think the lack of sleep definitely screwed with my max effort sets. I need to figure out how to deal with that. Um, I don't know if sleeping pills would be a wise idea, but maybe on the first week back, I'll try and see if like I can get a maximum amount of sleep recovery done and see if that improves my strength, which it definitely should. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and bump my bench press number up by 5 to 310 pounds. Um, and then I'll keep the rest of my numbers. Maybe I'll bump my squat numbers by 10 pounds, so go to 350, and then see how I do in the next block. In the next block, I'll be focusing on squats as the peak week, so I'll be doing 85% squats. Um, should be fun, and also hoping that the deload week next week helps in the recovery process as well.